Click the links on Odysee, BitChute, Gab. Join the Discord, but fair warning, it's full of crazy people. If you watch this video 3 times, it will turn you into a Hugo Boss wearing, goose-stepping, 1469er type. Apparently, it has some magic power. So, amphibian pride worldwide. The OK symbol, which I use as often as possible, is not a symbol of Irish, English, Jewish, Somalian, or any other type of supremacy. It never has been. That's not how this works. It's not how any of it works. It was a test to see if 4chan could trigger the ADL, a group created to defend Leo Franks, a Jewish guy who hurt and deleted a little girl. Then Leo blamed a black guy for the crime. What a scumbag. And, everyone at the ADL, also scumbags. ADL was founded to protect a monster. They're as close to pure evil as an organization can get. You don't believe me? Go take a look at John Greenblatt. He looks like he belongs under a bridge somewhere. The ADL is full of grifters and legitimately mentally ill people who actually actively work. We're fighting Nazis. They're actively working to make nations worse. They're globalists. They destroy nations. That's what globalism is all about. Triggering the ADL is doing the Lord's work. OK has never, this whole time, been a symbol of anything other than humor. I mean, it started as a joke, but the thing is, it never went beyond that. It was never used in a serious manner, as the ADL and people on the left claim. I mean, they're claiming it started as a joke. They acknowledge that. But they're also claiming that it morphed into a legitimate symbol of, I'll say, WS. European people think they're better than other people. It never did. It was always a joke. The only people who took it seriously was the far left, which was the intent of 4chan all along. 4chan is freaking brilliant. This game looks awesome. I don't have to look into it. I don't know how much it is, but it's got to be pretty expensive because it's got a lot of detailed pieces going on into it. So WS was the initials I'm going to use. It is actually pretty rare. What the ADL labels WS is just Europeans who think diversity is cancer, as shown in America, Canada, Western Europe, Australia, which it totally is. I mean, I don't think it's that far out to say something that doesn't work. It's like, oh, that's not politically correct to say. But it's the truth. If the truth isn't politically correct, then we have a problem, and we have a very, very serious problem. Separate people should be separate so they can live in peace. If you put the Irish in Sweden, then you no longer have diversity. You mix them up, you have nothing. You're left with just the rootless people with no culture and nothing. You've just destroyed a nation. You destroyed hundreds or maybe even thousands of years of people building something by mixing them together. Multiculturalism is destroying diversity. France was France because it was full of French people who made France France. What's going on now is the destruction of culture. They know this, and the normie doesn't. The ADL believes that people should be mixed, so they fight all the time, which is exactly what you're seeing now. It's why America is headed for civil war. It's the tall grass theory that hides snakes, except for Israel, where power is concentrated in one and only one tribe's hands. Yes, if you're Palestinian, you may live there, or Arab, you may live there, but you don't have power. You don't have full legal power that other people do. That's something that most people are not aware of. So if you point out this obvious hypocrisy of the ADL, they label you a WS, a European person doesn't hate themselves. Then the media will dox you. The banks and social media platforms will kick you off. They will try to destroy you, make you homeless, and ultimately they want you to delete yourself. Chase and Bank of America have literally done this. He who controls the media and banks controls the nation. The ADL wants you deplatformed and jobless. They can make it happen with a phone call. It literally takes a few days. They are extremely powerful and dangerous people. The frog and OK gesture is just a straw man used for advocating anti-white hatred. It's just a reason for them to hate. The EDL, media, academia, they really do hate people of European descent, and they use every opportunity to belittle and humiliate you. The 4chan test for when your civilization has been subverted. Well, America failed that test. We don't run America. The ADL, SPLC, banks, and media do. what is it? Leaders are selected, not elected. Yeah, that's about 90% true. That the narrow field is selected, and then you elect the person who's remaining, but they've already been pre-approved. This game, I don't know what this thing costs, but there's a lot going on. This must be expensive. The idea that a game company would be kicked out of convention for an OK frog. Follow my logic here. He, no matter what he was before, is now labeled far right, and people who support him also. He is now on the side of the far right. Once the alt-left labels you a wrong thinker, that's it. That's why you never apologize to SJWs. Never back down. Because then you lose support from both sides. And it will never be enough. It just gives them, they've detected a weakness, and they insert the pry bar, and they continue taking. Never back down from what whatever your statement was. Now, if he is not far right, then he's a man without a political home, which is great, because I hope he sees the danger of the far left wing, their hatred and intolerance of diversity of thought. Keep in mind, something similar happened to Jeremy Hambley's a quartering on YouTube. Yeah, he was into Magic the Gathering. He's a left-wing guy who thinks that the left is lighthearted, frivolous, and developmentally disabled. And the alt-left sort of didn't know what to do with him because he's not right-wing. So he just vaguely falls into that wrong thinker category. He's not, which is like 75% of the country. He's not an SJW, so they call him alt-light, which is like, what does that mean? A moderate? A fence sitter? Like most people? Most people just are not whack jobs on either end of the spectrum. So these cons and SJWs, they don't actually believe that this fishing game is 1469 Hugo Boss. It's just a warning to other people. And the game actually looks really cool. Any sign of European in-group preference or identity is not allowed. All other groups may identify as they please, but not this group. How about suck a bag of dicks? People on Gab are talking about forming parallel economies, just like openly doing so. Gab is actually the cutting edge of a lot of this stuff because they have the best terms of service. They're not allowed on the app stores, Google and Apple, and that is a very good sign. Comicsgate is also sort of on the cutting edge of a parallel system, which I realize is kind of humorous. You look at a bunch of obese 50-year-olds, bald, bearded guys who are they're the tip of the spear, which is, it's weird how movements grow, but it's like, it is what it is. Hey, we don't like censorship and cancel culture. We want diversity of thought and different opinions, even if they, heaven forbid, actually differ from our own. We don't want to be prohibited from doing business because we used a symbol that the ADL masters said that we must not use. Either you believe in free expression or you don't. Whether you're a commie, a Nazi, a Hindu, or a Christian, I want to hear what you have to say. I don't need another man to act as a censor between me and the source material. I can decide for myself what ideas hold water. If a con kicked out a board game company because of an OK frog, think how far left the window of permissible ideas has shifted into authoritarianism and censorship. They're not fighting anything real. They're simply censoring anything they view as against the narrative. That's why the 4chan, it's okay to be white and Islam is right about women was so beautiful, because it shows how intolerant and hateful these Bolsheviks actually are. A lot of normies, middle ground people on both sides, have their head in the sand about how dangerous the alt-left actually is. They try to placate it by feeding it pieces of the far right, but when they take down the actual far right, and there was on YouTube for a while up until about 2 or 3 years ago, the group that is left is the new far right. So then they deplatform them also. Then they go to DLive, Odysee, Gab, BitChute, Telegram. Twitter is so terrified of free expression that they blocked links to BitChute. But so now there's like Odysee, there's World Truth Video, which actually has a really nice upload. It has a really nice front page where you have this floating icon that allows uploads. It's like the Twitter has that floating writing icon. Gab TV, and there's a bunch of other sites too. Ultimately, there's going to be a few that'll settle out as the top, and I think Gab and Gab TV is the total package right now, because simply they have the best terms of service. ultimately, they're making Twitter less useful, which is awesome because it helps grow Gab and the other alternatives. Parler and Getter, which I know is getting popular with the, I don't know, the normie crowd, they're going through the Google and Apple app stores also, so they have to abide by the same terms of services. So ultimately, they're going to be controlled by Google or Apple, like Twitter. There's no point in going to an alternative forum that has the same terms of service. The only one that doesn't is Gab. Telegram also, because Telegram has a little tricksy model where they're on the app stores, but they also have a version that you can download from their website. So there'll be some pages displayed on Telegram that go, oh, you can't access this from the Google version download. You have to download it from Telegram's site themselves, and then you can access all the channels. So they're kind of a little bit of a workaround, and I think eventually they're going to be kicked off also because there's just way too much free thought on Telegram. People in the mainstream are scared of using Gab because the ADL labels it a place of dangerous free thinking, which is defined by them as anyone who is critical of the ADL censoring them. But if you're tired of censorship, then you have to go to a place where you're allowed to speak freely, which means, yeah, we need a parallel economy for those pro-censorship and those pre-free thought. You know, the alt-right crowd that wants free thought and open discussion? The ADL calls the people pro-free speech the Hugo Boss crowd, because the ADL is evil. They were literally founded because they were upset that Leo Franks wasn't allowed to struggle, snuggle, and delete white girls. If you don't believe me, go search it. They were founded in evil. They are legitimately evil. But they are the people telling us that a symbol is evil. It's a group founded to defend a murdering pedophile who then blamed a black guy. It sounds crazy when I say it. Go search it yourself. You'll find out, like, oh, this is like biblically evil, like satanically evil. These people are as evil as I say it, even worse. Even worse. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys, and I will see you probably on all platforms, because I don't imagine this YouTube channel is going to stay up too long.